So today started off with a plan. And the plan was that Dr. Art and I were gonna get Kiwi's Buick up and running and drive it around a little bit. So I brought the jump pack and a squirt bottle of gas, and that was the plan. And then things changed. I pull up in front of Kiwi's place and Dr. Art is already here, and they're pouring over this Mustang. So, Kiwi.
Yeah.
Give us the short version of what this car is and what it's doing here.
Well, it came in for seatbelts.
Okay.
The guy's just bought it very recently, and he wants to have some seatbelts in it.
They came in for seatbelts.
For seatbelts.
Seatbelts.
And he said it wasn't getting full. Didn't seem like it was getting full throttle.
Right.
Turns out those are like on the bottom of the list.
They don't even register on the list.
No, they ran out of. We ran out of room on the page for the seatbelt.
All right. So for the last hour, Dr. Art, Kiwi, and myself have been. Well, the light is terrible here.
Okay.
Dr. Art, Kiwi, and myself have been pouring over this car, and literally every place you look, there's something that defies imagination. And like, this is over and above. We've done so many of these car flipper, scam, rip-off videos. It's old hat now, right? But you know, every time you come to Kiwi's House of YouTube Gold, well, there you go. It just got raised to another level. And here we have an ultimate example of flipper thievery. So this car, now, normally, and this is important, unless we know exactly where it came from, we don't mention the dealer, or you know, so it has to be a direct link to where the car came from before we'll mention. And we did it once with Possum Hollow Garage because it was a direct link. But most of the time, these things change hands so many times, and the story is so-so, and there's no paperwork to go by, that we don't mention where it came from. But this is different because this car came directly from the consignment lot that sold it a week or two ago. And here is the ad for this car. Okay, so here's the car, right? Strong running 289 V8, auto trans, power steering and brakes, slick red paint, runs and drives great. Okay, and here's the price. Okay, it's the advertised price. Here's where it came from. And just to back that up a little bit, here's a drive out tag. Okay, so we have paper confirmation of where this car came from. Now let's start the tour up front, because when I came in, this is where these guys were. Care to do the honors?
Yeah.
So now before we even do this, right, let's just note that this car is finished beautifully, okay? Like, you walk,
nice paint.
It does, it's this beautiful paint. And all of the trim, it's got all the jewelry, okay? It has a slightly oversized scoop. You know, you say, why does this 289 have this big scoop, right? Well, pop the hood and let's show them why it has this big scoop. Yes, that's a 289. No, the light's good.
Okay.
That's 289, but you guys notice something about it? Okay, I'm getting the angle here. Flush across the fenders. See how high that motor is? And it's got like a low-rise intake manifold on it. Kiwi, why is that motor sitting so high?
When I first popped the hood, I thought, well, maybe it's a 351. It didn't really look wide enough, because 351s are taller, they sit up higher. Right. It's like, no, it's not that. So a little bit closer inspection, and you can see it's actually had a Mustang 2 front suspension installed on it, which is, you know, it's a nice upgrade. Power rack and pinion, great stuff. The mounts, however, look wrong. They've cut up the original old V8 mounts and kind of welded them onto the cross member, and it's like, that's an unusual way of mounting it, but you know, not terrible. And you look a little deeper down again.
I'll climb underneath for this.
And yeah, it's got,
okay,
they've left the original oil pan on it, which is not designed to go with the Mustang 2 cross member and steering rack, because the bowl of the oil pan wants to be in the same piece of real estate as the cross member and of steering rack. So what you do is you put a Fox body pan on it. Like it's a no-brainer thing. Like all the manufacturers of the different kits, you know, be it Heights or TCI, this is not a Heights or TCI. I'm not sure where this came from. But you know, they supply, usually they'll supply, or you have to supply, you know, the Fox body pan that allows the engine to sit down at its normal height in the normal place, and everything works. Pretty simple. On this one, they've left the stock oil pan on and just basically hauled the engine up in the air until it cleared, welded the mounts on, and gone, sweet.
And then the giant scoop.
Yeah, and then they probably went to close the hood and went, ah, shit. The hood won't close, Billy Bob. Like, what's going on?
So they literally went out of their way and basically re-engineered the front end of this car, the geometry of this car, rather than put a Fox oil pan on here that has that little front sump that would saddle over the Mustang 2 front cross member. But no, instead they fabricated mounts and raised this thing up to where it's almost out of the car to make it fit. But that's not even the least of it. Let's keep going, Kiwi.
Wait, there's more.
Yeah, where do you start?
We're just starting.
One of the key problems is that they've lifted the front of the motor somewhere in the region of 3 to 4 inches, which puts it on a heck of an angle.
Yes.
So the driveline angles are guaranteed to be like way off. Now, runs and drives great. It only gets about 20% throttle. Like 50 mile an hour is flat out.
Show them the throttle.
It's all it'll do to do 50 mile an hour.
Yep.
There goes that. So that's it. That's full.
That's
they're
full
calling that. That's as far as it'll open.
It runs and drives great though. It says it right on the ad for the $40,000.
For the $40,000
Yes.
Mustang. Yeah. They've rewired it. There's lots of strangeness in the wiring. Spare wires.
Wait. When they mounted the Mustang 2 cross member in there.
Yes.
What did they do there?
Okay. Well, let's have a quick look at the Casper over here, and that'll show you how it's meant to be.
Okay.
You'll see here there's plates. Now these are 3/16 thick plates, 3/16 of an inch thick, and they wrap right around all 4 sides of the rail to beef the rail up. The rail's pretty thin. It's probably only 16, 14 gauge at best. They're not terribly thick.
Right, there's not much to weld to.
But they rely on the shock tower that's normally there. That all becomes part of the strength. Once you cut all that out, you have to plate up the chassis rails. They didn't bother doing that over here. They've just welded the cross. Watch your shins there.
They just welded the cross member straight
to the
frame rails.
The thin walled frame rail tubes. So, you know, you get a lot of all the braking and turning and stress, and the weight of the engine is all hanging on that point, which is only about 3 inches wide, hanging into the frame rail.
And you barely weld to those frame rails without burning them through if you're good, much less mounting an entire engine suspension and half the car to it.
Yeah.
Now when they see this is where it really starts to get great. Okay, so when they mounted the Mustang 2 front suspension in there, I don't think they located it in exactly the right spot, would you say?
I would say that, yeah.
So one of the things we noticed right away, looking over the car, is that now this is straight out of the body shop, right? Paint, it's beautiful. The paint is just absolutely beautiful. Okay, and then I noticed that it has this rub through here. Okay, and you would expect that the rub through would be on the inside. And this is straight off the dealer's lot. The rub through is on the outside. Kiwi, why is the rub through on the outside?
It did take a moment to figure that one out, because we were playing around turning the steering, and one thing that does become apparent is the cross member's mounted too far forward.
Yes. So here,
So you've got a big gap at the back.
Yes.
And you've got a very tight gap at the front.
And it's even tighter on the other side.
Yeah.
But there's an interesting thing about this.
Don't turn that wheel, Kiwi.
Oh dear. It's really not funny for the owner, but I mean,
No.
It's like.
But here is not the factory fender brace.
This is what they wedged in there. It's not attached in any way, shape, or form. It's not welded. It's not drilled, bolted. This is literally wedged between
So
the
once you
frame
take-
rail and the fender. So look what happens when you take the wedge out.
The clearance is
Yeah,
just-
keep coming. Well, the fender right now is out from where it was, but you could see where this relationship
yeah.
would hit. So that's
I would say they've been backing up. They've been backing out, probably backing out of the workshop.
right.
And it's done a little bounce as it's gone over a lip, and it's just caught that fender and rubbed and like rolled the fender up. And so that's why they put that brace.
And this was the fix.
But it's just wedged in.
Yeah.
That's a lightweight fix.
Yeah.
Well, it is lightweight. Yeah.
It is, yeah, nice.
Definitely. They
I'm
used
gonna hang on.
exotic materials
Yeah.
on
That
that.
aluminum strap's quite good for making brackets with, so I'm going to hang on to that.
Okay. Yeah. So, and you know, I'm looking over this car. I'm like, man, you know, but some of the trim, the chrome is just so beautiful. I mean, they really went out of their way dolling this car up. I mean, the jewelry is just so beautiful. Even these front bumpers. Yeah, this is how it's mounted. It's missing the bracket on both sides to stabilize it. So, but you know what? We're not even really getting started yet. Dr. Art, you're an electrical guy. Let's look at some of the fine points.
The finer detail. Okay. First, let's start as far forward as we can, and we'll work our way back before we start crying. Wherever there's a wire in this car, it's straight through metal. No rubber grommets anywhere on this car.
You mean like there?
Like there, and then go over
And
to the stock
down in the
holes
corner here?
In the corner.
Got a bunch of wires coming through just an open hole.
These are holes that are open in the firewall to the interior. There's nothing, like zero, just nothing. And then
Normally the factory harness has those rectangular plugs that plug through there, but they've torn all that out to put a new harness in there. And you know, you open the hole up, you do what you need, you put a grommet in there, you do something to protect the wiring, especially the brand new wiring that you're putting in.
Yeah, brand new harness.
You know, which takes some time to run a new harness. And
There's so much. There's, you know, even okay, no harness, but this black wire is for an AC exciter for the clutch, but we have no AC. Why do we need? Why?
Hmm.
And
well,
then,
they were taking their time. You know,
we got more spare here.
lots of spare wire there, and then of course everywhere with his butt connectors, with this one's barely even grabbed.
it's exposed wires, not heat shrunk, not soldered, not anything.
Right. It's everywhere. Look at this. There's no no shrink tubing over any of this stuff. So continue.
Continue. Well, okay, we'll continue. Just kind of jank, like, you know, the fuel line. Okay, which is metal, but it's not
Supported in any way.
supported by anything on a rubber through this and through some kind
Well,
of
this matches the bumper.
yeah.
Look, see, yeah.
It's very flexible.
Yeah. There you go.
You know, they have the fan wired directly to hot, so it's hot in accessory and run. So either or, your choice when you want the fans to run for the engine. The engine doesn't have to be running, but you know,
Anytime the key is on.
anytime the key is
fan
on,
running.
either way. They did put a circuit breaker in. They have a real nice stereo system in the back with this professionally mounted fuse.
It's solid. This is great. This is just great.
Yeah,
The
don't forget
battery,
about-
the battery's like just bouncing around.
Dude, that's what gravity is for.
Just be thankful there's not a big mechanical fan blade on there to hit it
this
when
is
it
cute.
bounces out.
and you don't have to go far for the cuteness to continue. We'll go right to the water pump pulley, which originally didn't fit, but through interference in a side grinder.
Side grinder, yeah.
Yes, these edges are very sharp, so be careful. They have a water pump pulley now.
It fits. It's on there.
It fits.
The alignment does a little.
The clearance is kind of similar to your big end bearings between the crank pulley and the pump pulley. Pretty similar.
Yeah.
But look at all the beautiful chrome.
Yeah, beautiful chrome, you know, Ford everywhere,
Luminized
Mustang.
headers.
Yes. Yeah, the jet hot coated eBay headers that are rusting. That's always special, but they are Tri-Wise, so they're, you know.
Ah, Jesus. And the filler neck. I told you this is special. This is next level stuff.
This was a little bit of a brain teaser. It took me a moment to figure this one out. You look at the fuel cap, and it's hard into the paint around here. Normally that stands off like 1/4 of an inch or so. Take it off, and you see it's cutting into the paint.
It's cutting into the paint. Gee, Kiwi, why is that cutting into the paint when it's the factory panel, when it's the factory cap?
I'm looking at it, and it doesn't look like it's not right, but why is it not right? Why is it not right? And then I realised this whole filler neck comes in from outside the car, goes in, and there's a flange, which is just a little bit smaller than the cap, that bolts in from the outside. Now this has been fitted from the inside, right? So the flange is behind the tail panel, and they've just bolted it through, which has put it from there to there, which has pulled the cap in.
So basically, they changed this tail panel.
Yeah.
The filler neck was already on here.
Yep.
And rather than take the filler neck off, put the tail panel, and then install the filler neck, they just left the filler neck in place and put the tail panel over the filler neck.
Over it. Well, the trick is now you can't get you can't just undo it and put it back the right way. It's locked in there because of the flange. You can't get it out through here. This thing is permanently in there. Without destroying this filler neck or cutting some of it,
you'd have to cut
something apart to get that out.
It's a forever
Right
thing.
place.
Yeah.
And it's
like-
forever ruined the paint. I mean, a week into owning this car, the paint's jacked.
Yeah, it already is. It's. I mean, this is in the metal over here.
It just took me a moment to figure out how they managed to get that in behind there, because it's kind of impossible unless the tail panel's off. So, but they managed it. But it's had quarter skins put on it. They've put part. You can see in here, there's a little line here. That's where they've tacked. Just one tack, 2, 3, 4. You know, and it's not welded. It's just tacked. That, you know, a portion of the outer wheelhouse. It's joined up here, you know, on that body line. So it's had quarter skins on it, which is not that unusual. Most Mustangs have had some kind of quarter work, unless you're very lucky. But it's not been done correctly. I've seen worse, still not correct. So yeah, there's that. It's just a myriad of little things.
The door panels.
The door panels. So they've kind of upped the ante and gone for a pony interior. Here, there's meant to be little pockets so you can grab the door handle and pull it closed. And that you just cut out, drop the pocket in, screw it in. So they didn't bother doing that. They just put the door panel on.
So you got to pull on the door handle.
Pull on the door handle. The drip rail seal around here. This is glued straight to the body. It's meant to have a stainless steel channel that holds the seal.
So they just glued it straight?
They've just glued it straight to the body. That piece of stainless trim is missing in action somewhere. Which again puts this in the wrong place, because it's meant to sit, you know, the stainless trim goes in there, then that sits in it, which puts it lower and closer to the window. So it doesn't fit correctly.
Neither does the radio.
No, the dashboard's been hacked out some time in its history, you know, probably before these guys got it. And then they've just put a radio in there that, you know, there's just air around it.
Point your camera under the dash and look at the
the
wiring job.
All right.
The rewire.
Oh, jeez. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh my God. At least there's no speaker wire in there.
It's up in there for the door panels. You just can't see it. It's kind of hidden on the way.
But you know, it's typical. Like, it's got beautiful trim. All of the chrome is nice. Brand new carpets. You look at this car, like, it's the typical flipper thing. You look at the car and you say, this is really nice, because it pops. All the jewelry is there, right? But once you start really looking at it, man, you scrutinize them. It's all over the place. Why is there overspray over here? What did they just painted this?
Painted the dash after they painted the car red. Just didn't do a great masking job.
Okay. That's nitpicking. That's nothing. The rest of this is just crazy. And there's more underneath this car. But you're gonna have to wait and see what's underneath here on Kiwi's channel. There's more. I mean, we've literally been going over this car for at least an hour before we shot this. There's so much more. And like I says, you can catch the rest of this on Kiwi's channel, because he's gonna put this thing up in the air and give you guys a tour from underneath. What are you saying, Dr. Art?
And we've been nice to this car from what we've shown you. So definitely you want to see part 2 on Kiwi's channel.
Yeah, yeah. I suspect there's more to the story, more chapters as far as what's on it. I've had a little look under the back seat, and there's some ugly tack welding of patch panels. But we'll have a closer look at that.
I like the way that speaker is just kind of sitting on top of the package tray.
Yeah. But yeah, not to be, to not be wasteful. If you look in the trunk here, something Dr. Art noticed. These are your speaker wires coming from your amp.
Left turn signal.
Left turn signal. I didn't want to waste any wiring, so wiring's expensive, and it's a copper, it's a valuable resource. So they used it all up.
Well, anyway, the light is terrible here. So there's a quick look at the latest in, oh God, Kiwi. This is gold. This is just YouTube gold every time I come here. It's the latest flipper dealer scam rip-off thing, whatever you want to call it, and we're barely even scratching the surface. I'm not going to nitpick. He'll get this thing up. Where is he? Is Kiwi? Okay. Yep. Yeah, he'll get this thing up on. Well, you're in the darkness.
I'm in the dark.
Come this way.
Come into the light.
Come to the light. Kiwi.
Come to the light. There you go. Look at that.
So he'll get this thing up on the lift and give you guys a tour of it underneath tomorrow or the next day.
Yeah.
But there you go, buyer beware. And like I says, this time we actually have the paperwork from the consignment dealer who sold this thing. What do you think they're going to do?
I mean, I don't know. I know what they should do, but I doubt they'll do it. Because the guys had the car probably about 3 weeks, I think. And so whoever was selling it on consignment has been paid, the deal's done, money's banked, it's kind of gone. Now it's up to the owner how hard he wants to push. He's got, he said he asked me how much do you think it's going to be to fix it, and the first number that popped in my head was 15 grand.
I think that's. And
the more we look at it, the more I think that's probably a bit light. You almost need to go back, like it needs rewiring. It needs.
Well, you'd have to redo the tail panel just to get the gas cap to fit straight.
I think we could cut the old filler neck out and get a replacement. And hack it up. But really, the biggest issue I have, or concern I have with the car, is this front suspension. One, the cross member's in the wrong place, and two, it's welded onto the rails that aren't strong enough to hold it. So really that cross member needs to be cut out, which is no easy job. No. Because it'll be all MIG welded in there.
But the ad does say that it runs and drives great.
Runs and drive great.
At 35 miles an hour. Because it doesn't go
the owner said the fastest he's been able to get it up to is 50 miles an hour. That's all she wrote. Because it's only got about 20% throttle. Because the engine's in the wrong place, and it's rolling over into the next problem, which is causing the next problem, which is causing the next problem, and it's a mess.
There you go, guys. So buyer beware. This is typical. You go to any of these consignment lots, any of them. We're not going to single out this one dealer.
They're not the only one.
All like this. They're all like this. These cars come through like a puppy mill sort of thing, where it's just they blow them out as quickly as possible. And you can even see evidence on this car where they must have been running short on time, so they just skipped things. Like for instance, they put a new washer pump in there, right? Nice, beautiful, shiny new washer pump, but they didn't bother putting nozzles or lines or anything, or even the bag.
Yeah, the washer, the water reservoir.
Yeah, they were like, just get this thing out, get it out the door.
So, yeah.
So,
Kiwi, what's your best advice for someone who wants to buy a car that looks too pretty to be true?
Not even if it's too pretty. It doesn't matter how pretty it is. Get someone who knows what they're doing to look at it, unless you do. And if you're really confident in your own ability, then have at it. But one, you need to get it up on a rack, somebody's rack, to have a good look underneath, because it's very hard trying to see laying on your side, not even able to get under it properly. And if if you just like the idea of a classic car and you think that'll be cool, something to do on a Sunday, and that's as much as you know, then pay $300 or whatever it costs to save yourself $15,000 or $20,000.
Seriously, if it cost you $1,000, like if you had to fly somebody out to look at this car, you would have been miles ahead.
Yeah.
And the place to look at it is at the dealer. Not once all of this paperwork is signed, everything's done, now it's in your hands, because there is a piece of paper in there saying, no warranty, sold as is, and that's it, right? So you want to do this not after you buy it, like this poor guy has, but before you buy it, while the car is at the consignment lot. And you guys, seriously, right? If you're not, even if you're not in the market for a car like this, and you want some good gearhead laughs, go to a consignment dealer's lot. They've always got like 30, 40, 50, 60 cars laying around there, and just walk around and scrutinize the kind of stuff that, because this is typical. This is not an exception by any stretch of the imagination. This is very typical of what's on these lots. Go get yourself a laugh or two and check them out. That's it, guys. Yeah.
See you later, guys.
See you later, and good luck.
All right, so the wrap up on this on Kiwi's channel tomorrow, he'll have this thing up on the lift, and the 55 Buick, 56 Buick.
57.
57, I gotta learn my Buicks. on Dr. Art's channel. All right, that's it, guys. I'll see you tomorrow.